I'm just taken aback by this idea of Democrats trying to be reasonable. We can't, man. You can't. You cannot win a fight with people who want to destroy you, and not just destroy you, but destroy your whole way of thinking. Listen, they have one view of the world, and that is the Christian capitalism. That's it. Christian capitalism. They want as much free market to the extent that it benefits their donors, right? They're willing to bend the free market as much as they can on behalf of their donors. They're willing to socialize the losses and privatize the profits. They're willing to break the free market all day long to benefit corporations. So let me take capitalism out. This Christian corporatism. That's what it is. Christian corporatism. And they're willing to bend the rules of Christianity as much as they need to in order to pacify the needs of the corporations. So I actually can take away Christianity out of it, even though they're the social movement of the evangelical church is hostile. It is hostile even to non-evangelical Christians like myself. I would get ran out of a church if I go in there talking about justice as it's defined in the Bible, right? If I went up there and gave a sermon and managed to make it through without cussing and talked about justice as the Bible actually talks about it, I mean, bringing down Pharaoh in exchange for lifting up the oppressed people. You know, the way you get to heaven is by selling all of your riches. You know, you can't get to heaven because you're not willing to sell your. If I went in there and start talking about that, they would chase my ass clear across the other side of the country. So they're willing to bend Christianity as much as they're willing to bend capitalism, all to benefit corporations. The problem with Democrats is that they started falling in love with the donations of corporations about 40 years ago, and they moved away from the populist movement in order to embrace corporations, and now they become almost indistinguishable from Republicans, with the exception of social issues. And this is why the nomination of Neil Gorsuch is beneficial to Democrats, because if nothing else, you better stand for the only thing that you've been standing for the last 40 years. You have not stood for the working class. You haven't. The only thing you stood for was social issues. The only litmus test that's legitimately used in the Democratic Party is whether or not you support Roe v. Wade. There might be one other, but that's the number one. So this guy, there is no need to even give the appearance of being reasonable. Matter of fact, it's time for Democrats to show how unreasonable they can be. It's time for Democrats to show how intransigent they can be, how petty they can be. Sometimes you got to be petty as F. Sometimes you got to do the right thing, to fight for the right thing, to get the victory for the people who need it the most. You've got to be able to bend your own sense of moral superiority. Telling you, man, don't come to me talking about, well, Ben, we want to be the good guys. No, we have to destroy this movement that is trying to take us back to the good old days when it was good for white Christian men and nobody else. Not even good. It wasn't even good. It wasn't even good to Thomas Jefferson. I'm not even a fan of Thomas Jefferson, his slave raping ass. But he couldn't even be his own agnostic atheist self because of what America was, right? He had to pretend to be a Christian. So I'm saying it's not even good to white men who are not Christian, right? That's the limitation. And then God forbid you're a gay man, right? LGBTQ white person. You are just as out of the club as women. Because they have this view of America, and this is a weaponized view. This is not some docile, staying in your church type of interpretation of America. This is a weaponized view of America that has not only taken over capitalism, because it's not capitalism that we're even doing anymore. It's taken over religion, and it is reformed. It has changed and manipulated religion to capitalism to serve their corporate masters. It is a very dangerous ideology, and I'm more upset right now today with Democrats who have been coddling it and trying to be the moral superior person and be, oh, we're going to play nice. We're going to protect the institution. We're going to protect the institution so that the institution, because ultimately the institution is what protects us. Bull shit. $20.